Chapter 1936, Batianju 81. Zhang Yi was not intimidated by the tone of these strange characters in the tavern. He looked at Odibio in the corner, who was lifeless, with his head bowed and silent. "Did you do all this, Odibio?" When Odibio heard Zhang Yi call his name, he slowly raised his head, as if he had suddenly regained consciousness. His eyes were empty and unfocused. "Odibio, I am Chaos. Don't you remember me?" Zhang Yi sensed that something was wrong. Odibio was acting extremely strangely. Why was he here? Zhang Yi shouted Odibio's name loudly. His body suddenly shook violently, and his lightless pupils slowly focused. Chaos. His voice sounded like it was coming from hell. Zhang Yi felt his skin grow cold. Odibio was acting extremely strangely. "Have you fallen? Have you become a Netherwalker too?" Zhang Yi asked coldly. "Netherwalker?" Odibio's eyes darkened. "No. But I can't leave here." He stared at Zhang Yi with a strange smile on his face. "Because I'm dead, Chaos." Zhang Yi's expression became serious. He had thought that Odibio had entered this space before him and was then controlled by something in the tavern. He didn't expect that he was dead. He actually died so easily. Zhang Yi sighed deeply. "Isn't the Aoshi clan known as the nemesis of the Netherwalkers? I didn't expect you to die so quickly." Odibio suddenly became excited. He slapped the table, stood up, and shouted, "I successfully sealed the immortal demon child. I did it! The glory of the Aoshi clan has not been tarnished by me. I was framed. Someone assassinated me." Zhang Yi's eyes narrowed. He thought of the person who had secretly attacked him. "Who was it? Who killed you?" "No, I didn't see what he looked like. He took advantage of the fact that my spirit and physical strength were at their lowest after I sealed the immortal demon child and killed me from behind. What a pity! What a pity that I died like this. I can no longer seal that demon god. Wah!" Zhang Yi was a little emotional and comforted him softly. "Don't worry, I'll kill that person and avenge you." Odibio looked at Zhang Yi, a sinister smile curling up the corners of his mouth. "You won't have that chance. Because you're going to die here too. Look around you, everyone here is a dead soul who died here. They are just like you and me, powerful beings from different eras who came here to seal the demon god. There are even powerful humans from before our time. But they are all dead, and their souls are forever trapped on this road of death, with no way to escape." Odibio suddenly stretched out his dry, chicken-like hands toward Zhang Yi, like a grim reaper, and shouted in a shrill voice, "Come on, you're going to die here too." The souls from different eras sitting at the wine tables around them looked at Zhang Yi with a half-smile, half-grin, and made cruel, mocking sounds. "I'll pass. I have something to do at home, so I'm leaving. I'll burn some offerings for you another day." Zhang Yi waved his hand and quickly opened the dimensional gate. There were too many people here. If Odibio was right, every one of them was a top mutant from different eras. He had to break out of the encirclement. Whoosh, Zhang Yi disappeared from where he stood, but in the next moment, he was back where he started. It was as if nothing had happened. The Hell Tavern is the entrance to hell. Those who come here will never leave. The nun, whose face resembled that of a demon, said in a deep voice. "He he he. He he he." All the dead souls looked at Zhang Yi with cold smiles, as if they were looking at a pitiful worm struggling to survive. In the distant past, they had also tried to do the same thing as Zhang Yi, but without exception, they had all failed. Therefore, they knew that the human in front of them had no hope. Moreover, those who were deeply rooted in the endless hell naturally harbored malice towards those who had freedom and life. They wanted everyone to suffer the torment of eternal imprisonment just like them. Not necessarily. Zhang Yi's tone remained calm. In his entire life, he had never put himself in danger. Including now. If he hadn't made thorough preparations, how could he have entered the tavern? "Don't struggle in vain, you can't escape." Odibio screamed, his body already beginning to emit black smoke and transforming into the beast god Khan. Zhang Yi remained unmoved and silently opened the dimensional gate. You still won't give up? No matter how many times you try, you won't be able to leave here. As soon as he finished speaking, a huge green light exploded in the tavern. Boom! The doors flew open toward the ceiling, and with a loud bang, a huge bronze pillar shot out. It was the sealed item, the Spear of Longinus. It was the holy weapon used to seal the Drucker Titan Mammon. As soon as the Spear of Longinus appeared, it smashed through the tavern's roof, allowing the light from outside to shine in. I'm leaving, goodbye. Zhang Yi leaped up and flew out of the tavern. He soared in midair, looking down at the hellish tavern, which had been pierced by a huge bronze pillar. The area where you invited me is most likely restricted by rules category abilities. Would I be so stupid as to not think of that? Are you kidding me? The Spear of Longinus was a sealed artifact that could even seal Mammon, let alone deal with a rule-restricted area of this level. He used divine refinement to control the Spear of Longinus, lifted it up, and then swung it fiercely toward the tavern below. Although the huge Spear of Longinus had no attack ability, its material and weight alone were enough to completely destroy the tavern. It would be best if he could kill all the dead souls inside. Of course, that wasn't very practical. Sure enough, as the Spear of Longinus whistled down, powerful dead souls rushed out of the tavern. A purple arm reached out from inside the tavern and grabbed the Spear of Longinus tightly. Boom! Thunder suddenly struck the sky, and the already gloomy sky became even more overcast with dark clouds. Lightning flashed like silver snakes in the clouds, and the terrifying thunderbolts flashed by, as if they were going to cut the sky in half, stretching for an unknown distance. A huge figure appeared from the tavern and stood at a distance from Zhang Yi. When Zhang Yi saw its appearance, his eyes became extremely fierce. He had seen many giant beasts with extraordinary physiques in his life, but the largest was Mammon, who had appeared from Tianyu Palace to plunder the Sea of Spirit Essence. Chapter 1937, Batianju 82. Zhang Yi had seen the terrifying demon god Mammon. Its huge body and imposing presence had made his blood run cold, and he hadn't even had the slightest thought of fighting it. But at that time, the distance between him and Mammon was extremely far, so the oppressive feeling was not that strong. But now, in front of him, was a super giant beast that was 1,000 meters tall. It was an extremely huge creature, even Flower in his second form looked like a toy in its palm. Zhang Yi had to raise his head to look up at it even though he was flying in the air. It was so enormous that clouds swirled around it, and the dark clouds made it appear shrouded in mist. Lightning flickered like ribbons around its body. It stood on the ground with its two massive legs, its body covered in purple scales. Its head resembled that of a crocodile or a lizard, and it had a long tail extending from its back. It stood there like an ancient god. This guy must be from ancient times. In ancient times, creatures were judged by their size, and the bigger they were, the stronger they were in battle. That's why creatures from that era were much bigger than they are now. Fatty Sue said fearfully, "How are we supposed to fight this thing?" Zhang Yi nodded. "Yeah, how are we supposed to fight something this big?" Its enormous size certainly meant it had tremendous destructive power. In its eyes, Zhang Yi was probably about the size of a mosquito. However, such a large size difference actually made it difficult to fight. On the contrary, it was much easier for Zhang Yi to strike the opponent. After the initial shock passed, he quickly began to formulate a battle plan in his mind. The other souls from the Hell Tavern floated around the purple dragon. "Who goes first?" the nun said in a cold voice. "Let me go first." The purple dragon's voice was like thunder, "None of you are allowed to interfere. I will kill him myself." The others did not express any opinions. All of the souls trapped in the tavern were once powerful beings, and they did not even bother to surround a human from a later generation. The purple dragon stared at Zhang Yi and said in a deep voice, "Remember my name, human of the future. I am Batianju 80. Zhang Yi nodded, "I will remember. In the future, during the Spring Festival and Double Ninth Festival, I will burn some paper money for you." Yang Xinxin's voice rang in Zhang Yi's ear, "Do you want me to go?" Her abilities were perfect for dealing with such a huge target. No, he's not looking for help, so we won't either. Zhang Yi replied. Because once Yang Xinxin made a move, all of the other souls would attack. Judging from Odibio's performance in the tavern, these souls had at least been bishops in their previous lives. With a wave of his hand, everything under heaven opened. Although nearly half of the dimensional gates had been destroyed by the immortal demon child, the remaining half still possessed extremely strong defensive power. A purple dragon stood in the distance like a mountain, raising its arms high and summoning thunder from the sky. Boom, boom, the sound of thunder grew louder and louder, from the end of the sky to the horizon in the opposite direction, with lightning splitting everything within sight. With the majesty of thunder, I will rule the world. Ba Tianjueti's low voice echoed from above, and then Zhang Yi saw the sky above him, where endless thunder gathered into a huge vortex. The layers of thunderclouds stretched far into the sky, and he could feel the energy contained within that was enough to destroy a city. Ba Tianjueti's arms fell sharply, followed by endless lightning centered on him, sweeping wildly in all directions. The indiscriminate attack destroyed everything around him, devastating the wasteland and the highway. The huge thunderbolts enveloped everything in front of Zhang Yi's eyes, as if a huge curtain had fallen from the endless sky and was pressing down on him like a tidal wave. Facing such an attack, there was no point in trying to dodge. Zhang Yi narrowed his eyes, stood in midair, raised his left hand, and spread his fingers toward the front. Divine Realm Netherworld Cleansing. Boom! The thunderstorm quickly swept through the space where Zhang Yi was standing, and the silver lightning destroyed everything in its path, turning the earth into a piece of scorched earth. However, this land, including the cracked highway, quickly returned to its original state after being destroyed. The world created by Mammon's dream could not be destroyed by any external force unless Mammon woke up or died. However, the space where Zhang Yi stood was not damaged at all. He used Divine Realm Netherworld Cleansing to open up a twisted space in front of him, forming a field of absolute vacuum that even the thunder and lightning of Ba Tianjueti could not penetrate. Ba Tianjueti's first strike did not cause any damage to Zhang Yi, which made him a little curious, because his ability was the strongest pure attack supernatural ability. Even opponents of the same level would not be able to remain so calm when facing this move. A space ability user with powerful defensive abilities? Interesting. At this time, the other lost souls had already hidden far away and were leisurely watching the battle between the two. The ghost-faced nun said, "This new guy seems to have some strength." On the other side, the giant wearing golden armor and standing 5 or 6 meters tall muttered, "Without a certain level of strength, who would dare to break into this place? Weren't we the same back then? We thought we were powerful, so we tried to take on the demon gods of the ancient era." An old man with a white beard and dressed in rags said indifferently, "Let's see if he can get past that purple lizard. The battle has only just begun." They were not in a hurry at all because entering this place was like falling into hell. They had almost an eternity to face everything. Today, they had finally encountered a newcomer who could be used to pass the time. After blocking Ba Tianjueti's attack, Zhang Yi was also preparing to strike back. The metal fibers in his left hand quickly condensed into a huge hand cannon, with a barrel over a meter long, a 30mm caliber, and a dazzling red color. The weapon's ability was to carry the user's own power and fire ammunition. The material on Ichigar's body was of the highest quality on this planet, so it could fully unleash Zhang Yi's power. With the gun pointed at Ba Tianjueti, a twisted black hole suddenly appeared behind Zhang Yi and turned into a huge black vortex with a diameter of several hundred meters in the blink of an eye. A force filled with the aura of destruction spread out. The moment the black vortex appeared, the state of all the lost souls changed in an instant. That's the aura of a demon god.